podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go, show recaps, predictions, sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go.
What is going on, everyone? It's the EVP from the EVP Show, and we are live for a special edition here on the EVP Show, Wednesday, April 8th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I told you guys, it's been advertised all week. Sorry. This is my first interview, obviously, on the EVP Show channel. But without further ado, I want to welcome my first ever interview and special guest to the EVP Show, the lovely Miss Mona. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
Doing good. All right. So, first off, let's just dive right on into it.
Let's go.
So this interview is just all gonna be about you. Obviously, I've been following you for a while, like all of your social platforms. I know you're very well loved in the community. You do a lot of great work, a lot of interviews and stuff like that. So the first question I have for you is like, what was the first thing that really or when did you start becoming a fan of wrestling? Like, what made you get into it, like, ultimately?
I got into it because my grandpa used to watch it, and then my father used to watch it, and then now I watch it. So it's kind of like a generational thing, and that's exactly what got me into wrestling.
Awesome. So, kind of stemming from that, so who would you say growing up was one of your or people that you were your favorites? People that it was a generational thing. You said, obviously, getting into watching wrestling. Was there a particular promotion you were watching, or a particular wrestler that you felt like that kind of just you couldn't wait to see every single time that you turned on a wrestling program?
I was really into, obviously, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then The Rock. I was into the NWO, just kind of around that time. Kane and the Undertaker, when they were supposed brothers. That's just why I always used to run to the TV to watch.
All great ones. So this is a question that I usually ask anybody that even comes in the comments to even watch my recap shows and stuff like that. So I'll say I would definitely ask you as well. What in your opinion, what has been your favorite match ever of all time? It doesn't matter if it's WCW, WWE, AEW, your favorite match of all time, that you just, if you had to put it on the Mount Rushmore, your favorite match.
Wow, that's a very hard question because there's so many great matches, even back from the 80s to today. That would be so hard to pinpoint an actual match. If I don't, that's really hard. I mean, if I really want to kind of upset the wrestling world, I would say Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns when Cody defeated Roman, but that would upset people. So as much as I want to put it up on there, I won't say it, but it would be really hard for me to pinpoint. A lot of the matches back in the early 90s were honestly my favorite, especially with the Ultimate Warrior, him and Hulk Hogan going at it, and even John Cena matches, even back when he was, went through so many different changes. So it would really be hard for me to pinpoint just one match.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could have asked you for your top 5. But yeah, there is so many. Obviously, I go back long ways to the NWO. that's kind of what re-sparked me in professional wrestling. Was the NWO, obviously, and then obviously, when I got back into WWE, the Bloodline, and then I wanted to be a rebel, so I'm like, all right, well, everybody's going for the Bloodline, so I'm gonna start rooting for Cody Rhodes to finish that story. And I was actually able to attend WrestleMania 40, which was just crazy. The weather sucked. I don't know if
Yeah.
you were in Philly. I'm not sure if you were there or not, but the weather was absolutely terrible. It was cold. But yes, it was for me. That was like I did enjoy seeing The Rock, because obviously I can say that as of now I was there to see the Rock's last match, which was Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody and Seth night 1 at WrestleMania 40. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna have another match before he retires. But that would be for me. That was definitely a crowning moment. So let's talk about let's get into some stuff business wise. Obviously, if anybody follows you on TikTok or Instagram, make sure you give her a follow. X as well. She also has a YouTube channel, which I'll give you a chance at the end to kind of promote everything that you do. But I have seen you into the how were you able to get into the media world and be able to kind of, I guess the best word is like outstretch the normal casual fan, what the normal casual fan does, and be able to get into like the media scrums and like the post shows, and to sit front row and stuff like that at these events. Like, what was the major turning point for you, like as far as when you transformed into just that fan, getting into the media aspect of professional wrestling?
Well, a lot of my content I started uploading on TikTok and Instagram. Well, first I started over at TikTok, to be honest with you, and I've been doing really well over there. And it just started to really pick up. And I said, and I also did go to school for journalism, so I was just kind of like writing off of how my content was doing online, and it opened opportunities that way by other people seeing that and giving me opportunities. I did work with some wrestling pages back in the day that helped me open that door and kind of get my name out there. And then when I was able to do that, then I started to reach out to people out in the company to see how I can start getting my way into the media world and showcasing what my work has been doing, what I have been doing. And then I've had, obviously, I sometimes sit ringside, so I have interactions with superstars that are familiar with me, and that has helped kind of capitalize on everything that I'm able to accomplish now. And once I kind of got that little open window, I just ran as fast as I could and showed who I was, and that kind of helped me get to where I am today.
Great answer. I love that. Yeah. So kind of bouncing off of that. Obviously, we have quite a few people in this tuning in right now. Have a comment from Kyle Anthony. He said, "What's up?"
What's up, Kyle?
Kyle was actually, I believe, on Main Event Mondays as well with me when I think we interviewed on a space, on Twitter space. So you work media, obviously. So you've done a lot of interviews. I've seen you with Solo Sikoa, obviously at SummerSlam, where you're kind of like throwing the ones up, and then he walks up. You got to have like a little funny interaction there. Charlotte Flair. I've seen the one about where you couldn't really fix, had some dysfunction with the lighting or something with LA Knight, which I'm sure was pretty wild for you. But who was your first major interview, and what was that like? like as far as like big name people?
Oh, wow. So I first started Royal Rumble back in Tampa. I remember the first person I ever interviewed was Bronson Reed, and I was very nervous. And it took me a minute to kind of get the butterflies out because it was my first time ever actually being in that space. But major, I've, like you said, Solo Sokoa, I've interviewed Charlotte Flair, LA Knight, and I was able to get an exclusive interview with Cody Rhodes. And that was my biggest interview yet that I was able to do. Was such a big accomplishment for me. Until this day, I'm so thankful for that opportunity. And I still reminisce about it a lot because it was, I thought I was like gonna go in there extremely nervous because obviously it's Cody, he was the champion at the time, and I didn't know how it'd go. So I mean, I've interacted with Cody Rhodes ringside multiple times prior to that, but it's like this is a whole different environment. It's just us sitting down exclusively. So and that was it was like as if you're talking to just like someone else that's in the space that works in the space and something you love. So it was a lot easier than I thought it would be, and that was my biggest accomplishment, my biggest interview. Yeah.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's yeah. I mean, he's the QB1. So obviously he's the current WWE Undisputed SmackDown champion. So let's talk a little bit about the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So you guys did a TikTok video together. How did that come about, and how are you able to was that part of like the exclusive interview you did with him, or was that something separate? How did that come about?
It was well, it was it was after I interviewed him, and prior to me interviewing him, I kind of had a set of ideas that I wrote down saying like I'm going to try to do this if possible and try to do this or ask this, and I obviously did not know what I would be able to do aside from the interview that I was given and the time frame that I was given. So I just remember him just finishing up a meet and greet, and then he was autographing some memorabilia for the WWE shop. So after the interview was over, I just asked, I said, hey, I have it. And it really was maybe about 15 seconds long. And I said, I have a 15-second TikTok I want to do. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I said, would you be okay? Do you have time to do it? Would you be okay with doing it? And he said, absolutely. He was just one of the best, honestly, so easygoing. He wanted to make sure that he gave me the time that he had and that I was looking for. So it was very easy, and I really appreciate Cody Rhodes for it because all I did was just ask, and he was good with it. And of course, because I already had it set up, I literally just put the sound on and I said, this is what I'm going to do. And if you just walk into the frame versus you just already being in the frame, I feel like it would be like more of the shock value would be there, like, oh, that's Mona, and then all of a sudden Cody Rhodes walks in. So that's how that came about, and I appreciate him till this day giving me that time.
Yeah. So when I went back and obviously last night, I mean, I've seen it before, but prepping for the interview and stuff, I went back and watched it. It was great how it was set up because obviously like you start off and then like it's obviously from back. I don't remember what PLE it was, but I think it was right before Roman and Cody teamed up, where they met at the 50-yard line on the football field, and Roman Reigns told him that he was getting in his way in life. And I think you guys was that like your, I guess, your pitch point or how you wanted to go about that TikTok, like because it seemed like it was centered more toward that midfield interaction with Roman and Cody.
So I don't remember what made me come up with that idea. I think it was because obviously it was that promo actually like did very well online. The internet was just absolutely in awe. The people watching were like, wow, this is like one of the most amazing promos. And I do believe Paul Heyman did write part of that promo from what I remember reading online. And I was like, okay, this did so well. And I know how much people can be very divided when it comes to the Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns situation. So I said, okay, if I want to make this like really cool, if I do a Roman line and then Cody walks in, people are going to be like, holy crap. And that's exactly what happened. So I was just kind of looking at it as like a, what would shock people if they were to watch this, and that's exactly what happened. You had the Roman fans saying, hey, like, you had to use Roman's line to do something with Cody, and it's like, no, I didn't have to. It was just something that I felt was going to be like, wow, this is so cool. Like, she's literally like pulling a Roman line and then here comes Cody, you know. So I just remember, I don't think I've ever said this before. I think I remember practicing myself, kind of timing how I want to do it and what words and how I want to stand. Because I never want to take too much time up from somebody that is, especially like you said, the QB1. So I remember when I said, this is the TikTok I want to do, I practiced it over and over and over in my home as if I was already there next to Cody, so that I nailed it the first time and we're done. Like, I got it, we're good. And then that's just how that all came about. But it was just something that just came up in my head and I ran with it.
Yeah, I loved it. Like I said, that was actually the comment. It was that Bad Blood 2 years. That's when they teamed up 2 years ago. Obviously, you know, they met. You know, this was obviously after Cody beat him for the title. I do have one question from, and then I'll continue on with mine from Stampede. He is a super big supporter of mine, a very good, really good friend. Comes to all my shows. So he has a question for you. If ES guy does another excursion to Marigold, would Mona be interested in going to Japan to cover that and the Joshi scene?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, you know what? If the opportunity presents itself, I can't say that I would say no. And I mean, we already travel for events anyways. Look, if the opportunity was there, I would not say no. I would go cover it, because I feel like that is something completely different than what I already cover. And I think it would be a great opportunity and learning experience for me as well, to be able to go visit Japan and see that side of wrestling. So yes, I would cover it if the opportunity was there.
Perfect. Thank you for answering the question, and thank you, Stampede. So I call Stampede he is the human dictionary of professional wrestling. So like, he watches every single promotion, and if he can tell you like what somebody's win-loss record is for 2000 from 3 years ago probably. Very knowledgeable. Yeah, he will stump you with the questions. A comment from Lou, who will be joining me on my WrestleMania prediction show next week. He said that was a great question, Stampede. So yeah, it definitely was. All right, so we call him the encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia.
that is exactly what we call him. He knows everything about every promotion. So going back to, here's also after the Slam podcast. He said he's here to support. He said the Silver Boy is here. Obviously, I told you, in our before we went live, obviously they call me the Golden Boy of WWE in reference to Cody Rhodes, and After the Slam is the Silver Boy. So After the Slam podcast does a lot of great work. Like I told you before we come on the air, he does interviews with a lot of indie wrestlers, and he works with like promotion over there now, broadcasting and doing stuff like that. So doing great work. He's also part of DWE, the team that I work for as well. So shout out to After the Slam for the support. The Silver Boy is here. So let's talk about so you say you travel a lot. So like, is that part of like your media work? Like, do you work for a specific company that like maybe comps you to like these events? Obviously, I know you're going to WrestleMania next weekend. We spoke about it on, when we were setting up the interview. Is there, what exactly do you do? Like, what are you doing now? Are you just like, are you still in the media, or like, just kind of tell the fans like exactly like, I know you have a TikTok, huge TikTok, Instagram following, a YouTube, almost 10K subscribers. But I mean, what exactly do you do like as far as like, because I see you everywhere. You're always traveling. Um, so can you? Is that something you feel comfortable talking about, or?
Yeah, I'm an independent journalist. I work, the media I do work under just my name and my name only. I used to, obviously, in the past, a few years ago, work under someone else, but now I do it on my own. And it is something I do because I love it and I've watched it since I was younger. I don't typically, I think I'm pretty honest about this. I can't put wrestling content at the top of my list all the time, but when there's an opportunity, like as if WrestleMania and I'm able to go there that week, that would be my number one thing that I'm working on. So anytime there is an opportunity for me to be there, an event for me to be there, I do go, but I go on behalf of myself.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, and you've already got your name out there, well established, like I said. Very well loved in the community. I've never heard a single person say anything negative about you. Everyone loves you, so I'm like, hey, perfect person to call. And we've had several conversations, and you've always been really friendly. So my next question would be: is besides Cody, like, what do you feel was your most impactful interview? Just kind of name some people that you've interviewed, and kind of what you said you were super nervous. Like I think it was Solo. I believe you said that was your first one.
Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed was my first.
Bronson Reed. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's my mistake.
That's okay.
Bronson was your first interview. You were kind of nervous. So like, who have you like interviewed? Like, just give us some names, like people that you've interviewed, and maybe the most impactful interview for you, like that maybe gave you the most confidence. That felt like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like that.
So we've said Solo, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Tiffany Stratton, LA Knight, Natalia that goes by Natty now. I've interviewed her. Goodness, there's a little bit of a list there. I've had the pleasure of speaking with Raquel and Roxanne, and there's a pretty long list, and sometimes it's so surreal that I'm able to say these names, but I have to say one of the most impactful ones was Charlotte Flair, because I interviewed her in SummerSlam in New Jersey, and she obviously was going through a lot of things in her personal life that was put out on the internet, and she was very confident in how she spoke and saying, explaining to the world, look, none of us are perfect, and this is, we all go through things, like who we are on TV is different than who we are in real life. And it was really nice to kind of hear that and relate to people on those levels, because these superstars are human just as much as we are. And it's really nice to be able to hear somebody kind of break that wall down and speak just behalf on their personal life and how you can, and advice on how you can get through it.
100%. And I can say that Charlotte Flair is my all-time favorite women's wrestler. I've been bugging the living hell out of her for probably about 14 months now to try to get that follow back on Twitter. Obviously, I haven't been able to get it yet. I finally did get Cody's. It took me about a year, but I got the Cody Rhodes follow back on X. So that was for me, that's a big accomplishment, because I put in the work. But I love Charlotte Flair. She's always been my favorite women's wrestler. There's another one that's kind of creeping up the ranks. Obviously, I'll talk a little bit about her to see if maybe you've had any interactions with her. But I do remember that because it was the instance where obviously, I believe, was it around when the whole Tiffany Stratton thing was going on, when everything was getting brought up about her and Andrade, obviously, their divorce and stuff like that. a lot of people were like giving her a lot of backlash online about that. So I was one of the ones that was defending that, and when I would go into a Twitter space or into a YouTube, I would say, look, like these wrestlers, honestly, like I know you understand this, but the IWC, which we'll get into that in a minute, but they are passionate. We have to give them that, and I mean, I'm part of that community as well because I'm on Twitter. I call it Twitter still, because I'm older, but they're passionate about their fans, regardless. But it's gotten to a point now where it's just completely out of control. If they, don't like somebody, I mean, they got people that's having superstars having to delete their whole platform from harassment, up to like, harassing them at airports and stuff like that. Like it's just gotten completely out of hand. And I try to tell people all the time, like, these people, this is professional wrestling. This is something me and you love and enjoy, obviously. But at the end of the day, this is a scripted sports entertainment that people pay money to go see, and this isn't real. This isn't like the people act like this is real life. And these people have wives, husbands, children outside of this. Obviously, I know you have children as well, so you can relate. Like all these people have a family outside of this, so it's just crazy how people can just go on this rampage and attack people. So I do have another question from the Human Dictionary. He says, what two wrestlers, one male, one female, does Mona see with the biggest upside that are at the beginning of their careers?
Wow, good question.
I told you.
I mean, I believe Tiffany Stratton's one of them. As a female, I think she just shot up, and I think, she deserves all the praise that she can get because she's done so well, even from the beginning of her career to now. She's absolutely killing it out there. She's good on the mic. She's good in the ring. She's just good at everything. Her personality, the way she stays in character, it's absolutely amazing. And she's actually a really, really big sweetheart and person. I interviewed her. She's really nice. So I would go with that. For a male, from a male, oh wow, male. There's a lot there too that I think are doing really well. Well, that's a tough one. Wow. I think Dominic Mysterio, I'm going to put Dominic Mysterio in there because Dominic Mysterio is absolutely killing it. Okay. And, I feel like he's able, because a lot of times when you come from a wrestling families, people always find a way to attach their name to somebody from their older generation. And one of them, I would have to say, and I think it slowed down a lot with Charlotte Flair. Everyone kept saying Ric Flair's daughter. No, that's Charlotte. And we can't forget that. She's her own person. Yes, her father was in wrestling. He was an absolute amazing person, but you got to separate them. But I look at Dominic Mysterio as somebody that you forget sometimes because of how good he is on TV, that he is Rey Mysterio's son. You don't hear that as often, especially on the internet, as you do with somebody like, I would say, Charlotte Flair. But with Dominic Mysterio, he's absolutely killing it. Like, no matter what position you put that character in, put him in, he will do absolutely amazing, and he just absolutely kills it. So those would be my one male, one female.
Perfect. I'm actually a huge Dirty Dom fan. I've been on the Dirty Dom train for a while. I obviously, because I have to portray a character, being they call me the EVP. I always say he's the greatest Mysterio of all time, Dominic Mysterio. And I do feel like, John Cena went out of his way to work that program with Dominic Mysterio. So and John Cena went on an interview, when he was, during the retirement tour and stuff, and he talked about people that he felt like were going to be the next level, that was going to, the future of professional wrestling. And Dominic Mysterio was one of the names that he mentioned. So I definitely agree with you on Dominic. Tiffany Stratton's great. I just think WWE needs to figure out a way better, I think, creatively with her. Because her baby face compared to her heel, I mean, obviously the creative booking wise, like when she was world champion, like the bill with her and Charlotte, was kind of touchy. I felt like I don't know how you feel. The match for me was okay. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I love Charlotte. I like Tiffany. I don't think they've wrestled since. I just don't think they had that in ring chemistry. But I think if they find the right thing for Tiffany, I think she could be. She is a star already, but I mean, she comes from gymnastics, bodybuilding, obviously all of that. But I just don't creatively. I don't know if they found the right niche for her yet. So I mean, she was women's world champion for over 200 plus days, which is incredible. But my next question is, how do you feel about the NXT up and coming talent, or do you even watch NXT like the JC Janes and the Sol Rukas and the Ricky Saints and the Ethan Page? Like, how do you feel about them and their journey, especially JC Jane? Obviously that's the one I'm talking about. That's kind of climbing the ranks for me, getting close to Charlotte.
Gracie Jane, yeah.
I think she busted her rear end in NXT. Obviously over 280 plus something days for 2 title reigns. Have you got any opportunity to speak with any of those NXT stars, and how do you feel about the ones that are particularly probably we're going to be seeing soon after WrestleMania, such as her and Soul?
Yeah, I try to catch NXT Tuesdays, or on my personal life is one of my busiest days of the week. So I usually, to be honest with you, usually by the time I'm home, I'm actually not home till 9:30 at night because I'm so busy. But I still catch up on it, and I'll still put it on TV and just kind of have to fast forward through the commercials and get through it to watch it. But I think the future is extremely bright with everybody at NXT, especially everybody that you named. And Ethan Page, like you said, and I feel like they are, like you said, there's going to be quite a few of them after WrestleMania that are going to get called up, and I think they're going to do absolutely amazing. I believe NXT is at its best right now. They are bringing people in that have done absolutely amazing jobs over there. Even showed up at WrestleMania. Rose Loco, she did so good. WrestleMania, I apologize. Rumble, she did so amazing there. She was the third to last. Tiffany obviously eliminated her, and her story about her having to change her outfit and everything last minute was just funny. It just kind of added, to the excitement of her being there. And I think, and Joe Hendry has joined, so to see, and Joe Hendry already showed up to Raw, so to see that they're kind of like throwing them back and forth between being at the main event and being at NXT, absolutely amazing. I think they're doing a perfect job, and I see the future being very bright, especially with everybody that's on there right now. And you don't know who's going to come in the future, but who they have now, if they were to get called up tomorrow, I think they'll do an absolutely amazing job, and I think they're setting them up for success.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, Sol Ruka finished in the top 3. I mean, she's got, for me, one of the top finishers. She is so acrobatic. Her athleticism is just off the charts. JC Jane, for me, it's not about maybe the high flying, but it's more about her ring presence, her promo ability, that aura, as the younger people like to call it. She's just got it. And she worked really hard to get there. So, but I do want to kind of switch gears. Obviously, I have another question about one of your interviews that obviously I just watched, I think yesterday or the day before, with LA Knight, with the whole like camera situation. Like, what exactly happened there? Like with that whole thing, you were like, it seemed like you wasn't frustrated. Obviously, you're always super calm and collected, but like he was being funny. Like, what exactly happened with that, with the LA Knight situation?
That was Money in the Bank in Toronto, and that was the first junket I actually did under my own brand. And I don't want to say I was nervous. I think I was just more. I don't know. I guess I didn't know what to expect being alone, and but luckily I was surrounded by other people that were there that were awesome. But he was my last one, so he was the last superstar that was there, that had availability to be interviewed, and I just put my stuff up, and I don't know if it was just because we were standing so close or what it was, but he's just like, he's standing there and he's like, he's taller and I'm obviously short, and he's just like, oh, this is great, and I'm like, no, 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 we gotta step back a little bit, but instead of, I don't think that picked up on the mic that we need to step back a little bit. So he actually just went with it. And then I'm like, okay, he's going with this. I'm just going to go with the joke of, it's too much. So I started putting everything down, fumbling everything because I wasn't expecting him to. It was the first time I ever met him like in that type of setting. So I wasn't expecting him to kind of go with the joke. And that's when I was just like, all right. So I started fumbling everything. And then just so happened my light started to fall. I just feel like the equipment gods were like, we're just gonna make sure we mess everything up for you. And then at the end I'm like, look, we just gotta step back, this is the only way this is gonna work. And he's like, no, do it as a mystery guest. And that kind of like went over my head, that comment. I should have did it as a mystery guest. And then at the end when we finally set up, and mind you, like, you're not the only one there's so many other people around you watching this unfold, and I just see everybody like kind of laughing with me. And then at the end he's like, don't cut that out. And I'm like, no, 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 I'm not gonna cut it out, I'm not. But I remember like turning so red, and I'm like, this is just a disaster. But it ended up just being way funnier. And I know after we laughed about it, I said, one day I'm gonna be able to interview you again. And ever since that happened, I went and got brand new equipment. I was like, I'm just getting all new equipment. I don't ever want this to happen to me again. And so I always say, one day I'll get my redemption and I'll interview him again and I'll bring new equipment, and then we can just, look past that.
Absolutely, yeah. It wasn't funny, but the way you guys like were able to like coincide together, it made for a great video. Even though like, I mean, I don't blame you. Like, you ain't got the new equipment. So, have you had the opportunity to speak to or interview anybody else inside the bloodline besides Solo Sikoa, like Roman Reigns? Have you ever spoken with Roman Reigns?
No, never spoke to Roman Reigns. I had the opportunity to interview the Usos, and that was for WrestlePalooza. But I also had tickets to SmackDown, and SmackDown was in Ohio, and the interviews are happening in Indianapolis, and those happened almost at the exact same time, and I can't be in two places at one time, so I chose to just go to SmackDown instead. I know some people may disagree with that, but I had to look at it from a content perspective, how much content I could receive from SmackDown versus how much, the interview with the Usos. So I did. I don't know if I'm going to say I regret it. Because, I had so many ideas to film with them, and then my situation was Solo and how him and I kind of have beef. I was like, man, like, do I regret it? I don't want to say I regret it because you can't change things from the past, but I hope one day I get the opportunity to interview them down the line. But I could have. I just chose a different option that night.
Right. So talking about the Solo Sikoa stuff, like, what can you kind of touch on the whole? Is it like a personal beef, or is it just like a fun beef, or like what? I saw the video, but obviously maybe
I don't want to say it was okay. So I was upset because he turned on Roman after Roman lost the belt, and I don't want. And so I just kind of was like, I'm such a loyalty person. Like, loyalty is everything to me. And I know wrestling, has its scripts. But I was like, I guess I don't want to say, I don't want to say I was yelling at him, because we don't yell at wrestlers ringside. We don't do that. I was expressing my frustration that he turned his back on Roman. And it just so happened that he kind of gave me like a really mean mug. And I'm like, I backed out, like, oh my God, this guy's like staring me down. I didn't think he heard me. So I kind of like went with it. And then Jimmy Uso was kind of into like paying attention. He came back and he's talking smack, and he's like, it's your fault. It's your fault because you're a Cody crybaby. And I'm like, oh, did he see like any of my stuff? Like, how did, or maybe he was just saying that. So it just kind of picked up from there, and Solo recognized me quite a few times. So every time he would see me, I would just friendly say something to him, like, you're gonna lose or this or that. And he would, Solo and his character, he would feed into it and just kind of talk something back. So there was one night where I just would not be quiet. And it was just because, like, whoever I sat with, shout out to all the people that I sat around, we were just all giggling about the first time he stared me down. And so it was a dark match that he had. And he came back out a second time. And when he came back out a second time, I was like, you're going to lose again. And he's just like, I was like, oh, he's so sick of my crap. And so he started like going down. He got hit. And I'm like, you're going down, And so he's like, shut up. And so I remember everybody started laughing. The refs started laughing. Security was laughing because it was on dark. So obviously you can, kind of break character. And so it is a friendly beef that we have. I was in the junket room at SummerSlam in New York, and he was listed to be there, but I did not see him in the beginning. So I'm kind of like doing my thing, and then he walks in. I guess they were rotating superstars at that time. He walks in on the second rotation. And he sees me, and I'm like, oh my God. And he sees me. He's like, he points at me. Now, mind you, this room's full of a lot of people from PR and everything. He's like, I know you. And I'm like, oh my, I turned red. I was like, I'm hoping I don't. And so I kind of was like, no, you don't know me. And he's like, you're that lady that talks to me ringside. And so then I dropped everything I was doing. I'm like, where are you setting up? I have to just interview you, And he's like giving me side. He's like, I'm going over here. And so I was like, I kind of like read. I'm like, I'm gonna, I want to make sure I get this interview. And he's like, don't worry, I'll talk to you. And so that was just like such an amazing moment. And so the whole interview, I was laughing if anybody ever catches it, I was laughing the entire interview because I didn't know what he was gonna say, and he went with it, which was really good. Like, he was so funny, yet he made sure, like, he told me how he felt about me booing him ringside. So it was awesome, something that I'll always put at the top of my resume.
Yeah, because I remember watching it. Obviously, like, not everything that you said, but it's like when he walked off, like he kind of put the one up, and then he turned it around. So yeah, that's good stuff. So this may be an embarrassing moment, but obviously I just caught this clip like last night. Obviously I seen that there's a Mona meme out there from you. Like, I guess maybe the camera was on you. I believe it was maybe Gunther and John Cena.
Oh,
so is there anything you want to elaborate on that? Like, what happened? Like, I seen that there's like a whole meme of like your face. Like, I guess maybe it was after. I don't know if it was after.
Is it a meme? Are you guys using it a meme on the internet? I didn't know that.
It is a meme.
Oh gosh. Well, I was mad because he defeated John Cena, and it's funny because after the cameraman came up to me, he goes, should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb. There we go. It was so funny because after, the cameraman was like, they saw like your face and they're like, oh, what a shot that is. And he's like, I had to catch it. And I'm like, oh crap, how did I come out looking like? And then I realized like one of my friends tagged me. Sean Ross Sapp actually tagged me, and he's like laughing and he's like, look. And I was like, oh my God, I look like I'm pretty angry, which I was, but I was just mad. Because, and by the way, I've interviewed Gunther before, and he's actually like, he is who he is, he's great. And I really enjoyed interviewing him, but he definitely is, in my opinion, like the new legend killer, because he took out Goldberg, he took out John Cena, he took out AJ Styles. Who's next? Is he going to take out Randy next?
Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar will be next.
Oh yeah, Brock Lesnar. We can't forget about Brock Lesnar. Yes. So yeah, I was a meme. There we go.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, I gotta bring this up in the interview. So I got like 3 or 4 more questions, obviously. This is gonna kind of dip into what I was talking about earlier with the IWC. Obviously, I'm a Cody fan. You're a Cody fan. How are you able to separate and stay out of the whole um, there it the Twitter community X whatever you I don't know what you call it. I'll still call it Twitter. It's separated. It's like I say it all the time, and I have all my friends are Bloodline fans. All the people I work with are Bloodline fans. But and I have a Roman Reigns hoodie on, so it's not like I don't like Roman. I used to love. I have a lot of Roman merch. How are you able to like stay out of all that, or do you ever get mixed up in the whole, you know, I hate Cody and because the Bloodline fans don't like Cody, and then the Cody fans don't like the Bloodline. Or, I mean, how are you able to stay out of all that? Because I don't never see you like getting tagged, or especially with all the interactions you've had with Cody Rhodes. How are you able to steer clear of all that?
I used to be pretty active on X/Twitter. And then when I realized things were just, people were speaking things that were extremely just not right. And people will notice this if you actually go on my page. I slowed down on actually being active on there because I didn't want to be a part of that. Because at the end of the day, and you mentioned this before, this is a scripted sports entertainment, and we are just supposed to be entertained. And I think a lot of people are losing that purpose. Like, we're just supposed to be entertained. We're not going to necessarily like everything and how things go. But that's okay. And we're allowed to have an opinion. We're allowed to feel a certain way, but how we express our emotions is very important. And I think people are losing sight of that, especially on X. So I slowed down a lot on posting on there because of that fact. I don't want to be caught up in it. There was a tweet that I tweeted when Cody announced he had his second daughter, and people were just like so confused about it. And I put, why are we confused? Like, why are we confused how he had this baby? And X took it as if I'm acting like I don't know how this baby was conceived. And it blew so big out of proportion that I was so uncomfortable. And I'm like, I was just putting out there like, he's announcing something happy in his life. There's no need for us to dig any deeper. We congratulate, we move on. And people took it as if I didn't know how this baby was conceived. And it blew up. And ever since then, I was like, I cannot do this. I rather not get myself put up in those. So I minimized how much I post on there. Obviously, I'm posting now because WrestleMania season's upon us and I'm traveling to Vegas next week. But the way I avoid it is just I prefer not to comment on in areas or spaces that are going to take it beyond what it needs to be. So that's how, but yes, sometimes I do get some DMs on Instagram about it, and I just ignore. I ignore, because at the end of the day, like, my love for wrestling is always going to be there. My opinion is going to be there. Their opinion is going to be there. But to feed into it, where is it going to get me? It's not going to get me or that person anywhere. So I try to avoid it at all costs. I do have some friends that mess with me, and I will do some friendly fire with them as well. But other than that, I just avoid any opinion that I know could go in a completely different direction, because we all are humans. We all have feelings, and I never want to be in a position where I hurt someone's feeling or somebody hurts mine. So
Right.
yeah.
So for me, like when I first got into this, obviously Twitter Spaces and stuff like that, I had to learn the hard way. Like, I was kind of like what you were talking about, not firing back. Obviously I would have because I was rooting against Cody at that time. I was a huge Bloodline fan, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna be the EVP, and I'm gonna switch my whole character around. I'm gonna go for Cody because everybody else is not going for Cody, and they're starting to, and it's a whole babyface fatigue that every one of the top superstars. John Cena's went through it. You heard him get cheered and booed. Cena sucks. We love Cena. Cena sucks. It happens to all the top babyface. Roman Reigns went through it as the big dog, and now Cody Rhodes is unfortunately going through it. It's just a babyface fatigue. The fans are just going to get tired eventually of that babyface consistently winning. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. But I had to learn to, like, obviously everybody that I work with and I'm affiliated with that are Bloodline fans, like, they're all great people. They all know I support Cody. So like, it's it's all friendly banner. It never gets like we joke around and stuff like you said you do with your friend, but I try to stay away from the people that's negative, like people that I'll see people block me or something just because I'll put a Cody, I'll repost a Cody tweet or something like that. Like it's blown way out of proportion. I did have a question that came in through a text. Obviously they're not on the stream. Have you ever had any interaction with Becky Lynch?
With Becky Lynch?
Yep.
I was able to speak to her at the press conference Money in the Bank in LA, and which won the Intercontinental Championship. There was very small interaction. I've had some interactions with her ringside, but this was before she turned a heel, and she's been very sweet, very nice. But that one small interaction, I was able to ask her a question, but she was very, very heel, and she's like, you guys need to stand up. We are, have some respect for me. And it was wonderful. I was able to ask her a question. She was very in her heel character, that was nice. It was, like I said, it's always a great opportunity to speak to the superstars, even if it's just for a simple question. But that's the only interaction I've really had with her.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Going back to these post shows, like, are you able to go into these post shows? Have you ever been able to like ask questions when they do the post shows, like after the events? Is there anyone in particular? Are you able to do that?
So the press conferences, they did stop those. They do them differently now, with Triple H kind of being with the panel up with the fans behind them. It used to be where we would go into a room, which I've had opportunities to do that. I've gotten to speak to John Cena. I've gotten to speak to The Rock, Becky Lynch. I've gotten to speak to a few superstars. So I've had those opportunities, but they no longer do those anymore, and that's okay. Right. I understand things change, and I actually like the way they do things now. I feel like it's very entertaining because you get to hear from the fans too, and that's very important, is being able to hear from people that watch the product. But I have had those opportunities. They've been wonderful. I have to say, I think I was very nervous to talk to The Rock, but he was so nice. He doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. He listens to your question very well. So I've had those opportunities, and I'm blessed that I was able to do those.
The final boss. The final boss.
The final boss.
Yeah, you got to call him the final boss, or But yeah, he's obviously one of my all-time favorites as well. So just a few more questions. We may run a couple minutes over. I know you got to get your son up close to 3 p.m. So you mentioned Sean Ross Sapp. So who would be some other people that's kind of big in the community that you like, say maybe like you're friends with, or like you've done some work with, or that you maybe speak to occasionally, or maybe you guys are best friends, like that people don't know about?
Oh yeah, there's so many amazing people in the community. So if I miss somebody, forgive me. There's just so many. There's a lot of amazing people in this community. Yes, Sean Ross Sapp is one of them, and Justin, the Wrestling Classic, he's one of my good friends. If anybody knows him, knows that he puts out amazing work. He's independent, and he's doing absolutely well for himself. Adam Bernard works for the Sportster. He's a great person, very genuine in this space. Definitely would follow him. Malcolm the Muscle Memory. What's your Waffle House order? There's so many different people. Queen of the Ring, Alex, if anybody's known, she's pretty popular. She's around. I love her as if she's like my own sister. So there's definitely a lot of people in this space. I've listed quite a few that I do talk to frequently. And like I said, there's so many amazing people. I would be listing them. I'd be sitting here for an hour listing them all. But, support these people, support all of them. Everybody deserves to be in this space, no matter how big or small you are. And these people that you see constantly on the internet work very hard, and whether you may not like their opinion or not, or may not like their content or not, they're still putting out work. They're still talking about something that has passion to them, and it costs nothing to be nice and support.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree 100%. Have you ever been able to do any work with people like Santi Zap or Denise, or Weezy Bond or any of them? Do you counteract with any of those?
I mean, we interact, we support each other. We all support each other's work. I haven't worked with them directly. I've, obviously seen them all in person. We've all spoke. We've all had all have something in common, but we've never actually did work together. I don't think, I'm sure if we ever brought it up, we would be able to do it, but haven't really been able to do it. Like I said, wrestling is something that I love. I am a mom, I'm a wife. It's very hard for me to be on as consistent as other creators, and that's okay. That's something that, I'm honest about. So when I get the opportunity to do so, the opportunity from anybody is always open. I love supporting, but there are also wonderful content creators in this space.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. They're all great. Santi, I mean, I could be on here for hours naming great creators. To Denise, Santi, that they all do fantastic work. I see that you're a Detroit fan. I see you post about them. So I'm taking it you're a big Tigers fan. I know you love all sports. Michigan just won the national championship. So congratulations to them. So have you always been, are you from Detroit? Is that why you support because I'm from New Orleans, so like obviously Louisiana, but are you from Detroit? Is that what made you a Detroit fan? Or
yeah, I'm born and raised in Detroit, and I'm a big Detroit fan. I have always followed all Detroit sports, but I did marry a Pacers fan, even though he was raised in Detroit. And we kind of go back and forth about me being a Piston fan. So I say that I'm not a Piston fan because I don't want a rivalry in my home, but by default I am a Piston fan. But yes, big Tigers, Red Wings, Go Blue, sorry State fans, and Lions. I'm a Lions season ticket holder. I love the Lions. They age me a lot, and that's okay. But born and raised here. That's why I'm always supporting the team, and don't think I'll ever leave Detroit. I know people may complain about the weather, but this is where my life is, and I love the city, and there's so many fun things to do around here, and I'll always be a Detroit fan. That's for sure.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, you gotta rep your city. I mean, so for me, I was born in New Orleans. Obviously I like the Saints, but then I'm a big Tom Brady fan. So I switched teams, and obviously I caught a lot of flack for that. I was a New England Patriots fan all the way up until Tom Brady moved over to Tampa Bay, and then I moved with Tom from New England to Tampa Bay. So I really don't have a team now. That Tom's retired. But I get it. Like, you got to rep your city. I have two more personal questions, and I have one from the comments from Stampede. Would Mona be interested in doing an interview with Tony Khan, similar to the one yesterday that Coach and Vince Russo did? And if so, what's the one question you would make sure to ask?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Of course. If I ever had the opportunity to interview Tony Khan, I definitely would. The one question that I would ask is it true that you did try to purchase WWE when it went up for sale prior to TKO purchasing? So that would be the question I would ask if I was able to.
Yeah, because I believe that was reported that he put a bid in. Obviously, I think he was like in the top 5 or something, which obviously I don't necessarily know 100% who put bid on what, but that's a great question. That would be a great question to ask Tony Khan. Obviously, I don't know if you watched his interview with the Coach and Russo yesterday, but they asked him a lot of questions. So thank you, Stampede. Thank you for answering that. So the last couple of questions I have.
Thank you. Great question.
Yeah, Stampede's gonna get you every time. He's a stomper. So I spent this whole last week ranting, similar to JD from NY. I don't know if you know who he is. He likes to be a little bit expressive on YouTube. JD from NY206. I'm sure you've heard of him. He's got like 200,000 subscribers. He's super big on YouTube. This whole Pat McAfee situation, and what TKO is doing as far as the ticket price gouging, and bringing all these celebrities in. Just a quick take from you on how do you feel about. I know you were looking forward to this whole Cody Randy story. There's 20 years of story there. How do you feel about Pat McAfee being involved in this storyline when it really didn't need Pat McAfee in it? In my opinion, I've already ranted about it enough. How do you feel about it? And do you feel that maybe TKO is just? I know you're big. Like I don't know, but how do you feel about all these? Like TKO is more about the celebrities. That being involved in WrestleMania, which I love Jelly Roll. I think his passion for the business is incredible. I think he does pretty well in the ring. But how do you feel about all these celebrities being invoked into the WrestleMania, and then one being like put into the night one main event of WrestleMania? Like, I would love to hear your thoughts because obviously that's what everybody's been talking about in the wrestling community for the last 10 days.
Yeah, it's definitely made rounds all over the internet. And, Pat McAfee, I believe it happened last week. I was actually out of the country. So I actually was just trying to stream it on my phone with whatever service I did have. And I did see it. And I said, I was actually shocked. I'm like, oh, is that who he was on the phone with? Was Pat McAfee? Listen, I don't work behind the scenes. I don't know what the long term, if there's something behind Pat McAfee. Are you just having him show up just to be a part of the feud? Or is there something more to this that I don't know? And then he goes on and tweets and says, oh, if Randy doesn't win, then you will never see or hear from me again. So is it because maybe Pat McAfee just cannot do commentating anymore? And that's why they slipped him in there because, hey, he's probably telling TKO or WWE, look, I can't do this anymore. I got my show. I got college football. I got so many different things that I have to do and I need out. So they're probably like, hey, we'll slip you in the storyline. Then, people are probably going to be upset. Then you tweet, oh, if Randy loses, you won't hear from me. And that's your way out. Instead of just saying, hey, I have to step away, you're going to put it on the match. And that's going to be an ultimatum on that match. I don't know. And that's why it's like, it was a shock to me. I wasn't expecting it to be Randy Orton. But I also look at it, if I'm looking at it from a different perspective, is I know, including myself, I want to see big surprises. I want you to sign people. I want to see people I haven't seen in a while. Maybe one of them could have been Jericho. Obviously, he went back to AEW. But we want to see those, and I understand that. But what if they just can't get those done? Maybe money's an issue, contracts are an issue. We don't know. So I looked at it both ways. Yes, obviously, I'd like to see a bigger superstar involved in this, or maybe nobody involved, and just leave it between Randy and Cody Rhodes. But then I also looked at it because I don't like to react right away, because we could react our first impression, and then when the dust settles, you're kind of looking back and thinking of things. It's like, okay, but really, why did this happen? And so part of me is like, did this happen because Pat McAfee needs to step away from WWE and he needs to be done, and that's why they did it? Or do they do it just to kind of hype up the event, maybe get ticket sales? I'm not sure. So yes, if it is for Pat McAfee to step away from WWE, then I'm in full support on how they're doing this, and I get it. If it's just to hype up the event, I probably would have preferred Pat McAfee to stay out of it and leave it just between them two. So I always try to look at it from a fan's perspective and a business perspective. And look, we're not working there. We're not on the payroll. We don't know what's going on. So yes, we can be upset, and I get why people are frustrated. I wasn't as frustrated as other people were on the internet, maybe because like I said, I can't change things. I can't call Paul and say, hey, this is what I like, or TKO, I can't, I don't like that. I don't have that type of power. We can have an opinion, but like I said, if it's for Pat McAfee to step away from WWE forever, I actually like the way they're doing it, but then I'm like, crap. What if he's not? Does that mean Randy's going to win and Cody's going to drop the belt? So it has everybody thinking. It's got the internet talking. Look, any publicity is good publicity, whether it's bad or good. It gets you talking about the company. So things have changed since TKO has taken over. I agree. Ticket sales have been higher. I agree. Celebrity involvement. Look, it depends on who the celebrity is. You got Tyrese Halliburton. I'm always happy. It's always good because he's a true fan. And you speak about Detroit, Jahmyr Gibbs, our running back. for the Lions is a real big fan of WWE. Getting celebrities that truly love the company involved, I'm all in for, you know? And I think it's always good because they truly, it's like buying a product from somebody. Are you buying it because they're a celebrity, or are you buying it because that's their passion? There's a difference between it. So when you talk about celebrity involvement, if they are a celebrity that's truly involved in the product, I don't see any harm in bringing them in. I actually think it's fun because they love that product. So they're going to be genuine in getting involved in whatever situation they're put in.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, I totally agree with everything you say. Obviously, it was reported. Obviously, I believe Saf and everybody else, the big guys, Body Slam, everybody else like that. Ari Emanuel actually stepped in and made the call, which obviously stepped over Triple H. Do you feel like we're headed towards some sort of because this was not a Triple H call. This was a TKO call. TKO and Endeavor are more a UFC. I'm not knocking Nick Khan or Ari Emanuel, but they don't have the wrestling mind that Triple H and Shawn Michaels have. They just don't. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. They don't. So how do you feel about TKO stepping in? Like, this is the third year in a row they did this to Cody Rhodes. They're stepping in and pretty much overwriting Triple H, Paul Levesque, and what he can't say anything because obviously the fans are already going nuts about his creative booking. So they're stepping in, but they're not messing with anybody else besides Cody Rhodes. So, they're not stepping in on the Roman Punk match. They did it with Cody and Cena last year. They had Cena turn heel, which I think they fumbled that heel turn. Honestly, I really do. Cena wanted to work 300 plus dates. He would only give him like 60 or whatever it was he had. How do you feel like we're headed? Like, do you think there is a legit power struggle with WWE and TKO to where Ari's like stepping in, like Cody's promo Friday? I don't know if you saw it, but do you think we're headed for a power struggle? And with you being a huge Cody Rhodes fan like myself, like, is it time for Cody Rhodes to go heel? The fans are booing him.
Look, I think change disagreements, they're going to happen in any company. Okay. And if they're happening now, and like you said, there was a report of Ari stepping in and making the call about McAfee. They're in a partnership. So there's going to have to be disagreements and agreements either way, depending on what it is. So I don't know if change is coming because Triple H is a mastermind in the creative spot. It would be very hard for somebody at UFC to fill. That's a big shoe to fill, to take over. I don't see that happening because Triple H has got it down pat. And he's, like I said, we may not always agree with his booking, but if there's one thing about Triple H, and I respect this a lot about him, is sometimes people want to see extreme returns at the Royal Rumble. He talks about how he wants everybody that's already on the roster to get their opportunity to be out there. So I know sometimes we're like, oh, why didn't you bring back someone from the past? He's looking at it as like, no, I want these superstars that are on NXT or on the current roster that you don't see all the time to get out there and have their moment. And that's one thing that locker room is always going to respect about Triple H. So if anybody ever sees some shift, I'm sure they're going to hear some voices in the locker room saying, hey, like, we like Triple H, we like how things are ran. And disagreements happen both ways. Changes are going to happen. I don't know which way they're going to go. I can't pinpoint it or guess on what's going to happen. If this was the only thing he stepped up on and said, hey, look, this is what we want to call Pat McAfee, I don't find it that bad, but I enjoy Paul in the creative section of things and Nick Khan and everybody that's doing what they're doing now. It's working. So why change it? But and like I said, they also hear what we have to say online. So I'm not saying they're going to say, oh, we don't like this, we're like that. And then with Cody turning heel, look, there's going to be a day that he's going to. It's hard for me to see him turn heel because he's so good to the fans. He's so good. There's so many younger people, younger children that look up to him. So if it's going to happen, something's going to have to push him over the edge. And maybe this Pat McAfee situation would be the reason that pushes him over the edge. We don't know, but it would be hard for me to see him turn heel. But it would also be a good shock to the world. I just think Cody is just more worried about all the people that look up to him, and there's a reason why he doesn't want to turn heel. But we'll just have to see. John Cena turned heel, yes, but he was still good to the kids. You know, he still found a way to make it up to people. So it would be nice to see how it would be with Cody turning heel. I think he would do an amazing job. Is he? It would have to be probably after he drops the title again.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I talk about a lot on my shows. Cody Rhodes is the fan fatigue has definitely hit. He's gonna get booed against Randy no matter what.
Yeah.
He got booed last year in Vegas if you were there.
Yep.
Against Cena. So for me, like, I agree with you. Like, Cody's main reason, he just had another child. Like, he's got 2 babies. Like, he does so much charity and so much for the kids. Like, he doesn't want to turn heel, but if you followed him his whole career, like, his heel character is phenomenal as well. So, like, if you're gonna have a big WrestleMania moment, you don't turn Cody Rhodes heel on SmackDown. That's a WrestleMania moment, a SummerSlam moment. I personally want to see Cody Rhodes go heel, because I'm tired of all the people saying, "Oh, he's the golden boy. Triple H is, selected one." Da, 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 da. And Stephanie McMahon made a good statement on Raw where she told him, in order to beat Randy Orton, you have to become Randy Orton. And you've seen Cody snap. Whether that was a work or a shoot, or we don't know. We don't know behind the scenes what the writers are telling him to say. But I was told Triple H or somebody told him to go back out there. And it was reported that as well. So I don't know. We'll see. Last question. I obviously got to put you on the spot because you are my first interview, and you are the only other, besides myself, one of the biggest Cody Rhodes fans. I'm gonna have you make 2 predictions for me for WrestleMania 42, because obviously I know you will be attending. Roman Reigns, CM Punk. Who do you think wins, and why?
I think CM Punk retains, and it's because he's got that grit in him to beat Roman. And I think that he's gonna retain the belt. I think that he's just got a lot of anger in him after all these promos he's been cutting. He's just got it out for everybody that gets in his way, whether it's Roman, whether it's Pat McAfee. It doesn't matter. He's going to put his all out there, and I think he's going to defeat Roman Reigns.
All right, a big prediction right there. All right, so the best for last, obviously, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, night 1 main event, will defend the Undisputed Championship against the Viper, Randy Orton, with Pat McAfee in his corner. Do you think we see Jelly Roll maybe come out and defend Cody? Who do you? I mean, I know you're a Cody fan, but bias aside, who do you think wins? Is Cody going to drop the title again and chase? Who do you got winning, and why?
I'm a huge Cody fan. I'm a big supporter of him, but I am going with Randy on this one. I think he is going to actually take it over, and he is going to defeat Cody, and Cody will have to drop the belt. I don't know if Jelly Roll's going to get involved or not. Probably, there's obviously been speculation of him getting involved, but I feel like Randy is getting to a point where he's just the Viper, and he's ready to bite and sting and take that belt away with the help of Pat McAfee some way, somehow. And it's going to upset everybody with Pat McAfee getting involved, but he will get involved, and Cody Rhodes will be defeated at WrestleMania.
Wow.
And I'm a big Cody fan, okay? I don't want to see it happen.
Me too.
Let me just say that. I don't want to see it happen, but I just it's just the way that things are playing out. It just looks like Randy's gonna come out on top.
So you feel, do you feel like, yeah, I'm not, I mean, I think it's happening too, but obviously, like, I'm not, definitely not for it. Do you think Cody's a better as a chaser or as a champion, though? Like, do you think
I think Cody's a better as a champion. I think that, he shows up, he's out there, he's doing his best. He's a champion, and he is at these live events, the ones that aren't televised. He's there.
Yep.
He's taking his time with the fans. He's making sure he lets fans hold his belt. I mean, take pictures with him. Like, he is a true champion, and I think he does a really good job at being one.
Perfect. One last question I have, and then we will go to the outro, and then obviously I'll let you tell everybody where they can find you. The last question I have for you is for people like me. Obviously, this, not even a year into the YouTube content creating. Obviously, I reached out to you. You were super. I told everybody super nice. Very welcoming on coming on to my show. Obviously, what's some good advice you can give for someone like myself or people that are just starting up in the YouTube content creating business, about how to, expand and how to grow and, how to get to the levels of the Denise Salcedos and yourself and the Andrew Badalas and the Sean Ross Sapps and the people like that. Just your best advice for us smaller content creators that are trying to climb that ladder, because everybody has to start from the bottom. Nobody starts from the top. You have to work yourself up. But your best advice, because obviously you're phenomenal at what you do, very respectable. I respect everything that you've done. So just for the people that are just maybe there's somebody that's watching right now that's thinking about getting started. So what would be your best advice for someone similar to myself and people that are just thinking about getting into the journalism like I would like to do, and then also the content creating as well?
This space may look very saturated, which it is, but that doesn't mean there's not space for everyone. So my number one advice to people getting started or are looking to get started is that you need to find something that's true to yourself and put that out there. Don't feel like you have to follow in someone else's ways and how they do things and how they put content out. Put content that's true to yourself, who you are, how you feel, because people will feel the genuine how genuine you are through the screen. So, be consistent with your posting. Always stay on top of everything that's going on in WWE. When you're doing that and you stay consistent, then things start to fall in place. It's not going to be overnight thing. It's going to take time. It took me years to get to where I am today, but that doesn't mean you give up. There are some times where I just find myself in a situation where I'm not doing well, but I don't allow that to discourage me. It can sometimes, but I don't let it actually discourage me. If I notice that, hey, I'm not posting that much today or whatever, I have to be like, you know what? I need to get back on my game. I need to get back up into things and do things the right way. If you want to pursue this, stay very consistent and true to yourself. And when you do that, things will start to pick up. It's just kind of like a business. You open a business, things take time to get there, but if you see it through and you stick through it and stay genuine to yourself, you will see success at the end.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely, I agree 100%. All right, so I'm gonna do some quick shout outs to the people in the comments. Kyle Anthony, Stampede. I'll see Stampede obviously next Wednesday for the WrestleMania prediction show. Good to see Stampede as always. Lou, I'm good to see you. I will see you next Wednesday for the WrestleMania prediction show after Slam podcast. Good to see you as well, the Silver Boy of DWE, Stampede as well. Also, I want to do a couple of quick shout outs before I go to my outro. Obviously, shout out to DWE, the head of the table, the CEO, Miami the Great, the Unseen Bling Queen, Final Boss Baby. Make sure everybody gives them a follow on X, Talking Up Wrestling Podcast. We're live on their X page as well. Make sure you give them a follow on X and a subscription on YouTube. The World of Greg and Director Reg and After Slam Podcast. Make sure you follow them on X and YouTube as well. And everybody affiliated with Gimmick Table Media. as well. So Mona, I'm gonna go to the outro, and then I will be back, and I'll give you your, we'll end things. Obviously, I'll let you tell everybody what you got going on, where they can find you, and then I'll tell everybody what I have going on afterwards, and then we'll that'll be it. So, shout out and also shout out to the 200 plus people that we have watching live right now. So, thank you guys so much for that. But I'll be right back, guys.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Predictions Sports. Let go, show recaps predictions sports
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Predictions Sports. Let go, let go.
All right. Thank you guys again. Like I said, the 195, I believe it says right now, that we have watching live at 1 p.m. Eastern, which is absolutely incredible. It's in the middle of the day of a work day. First off, I want to say a special shout out to Mona. You're an absolute gem. Thank you so much for being my first person to ever come on my YouTube channel and do an interview with me. Obviously, we went a little bit over. I apologize about that. Obviously, I know I'm not gonna make you. We still got us a little bit of time. Now you can make it to pick your son up from school. But it was true. I'm truly blessed and honored to be able to interview. I look up to a lot of things that you do. You're incredible to the community. Very well liked. So I don't know how many times I can say it. Obviously, I'll make another post afterwards. Hopefully, you'll share the stream as well. But thank you so much for coming on and being my first ever interview on the EVP show, which I hope to have many, many more. And I hope we have to have you back again one day for sure.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, I'm gonna hand it over to you. Whether you want to tell people, like, if you don't, that's fine. If you want to tell people where they can find you on your socials, and what you have coming, what you got coming up. I know you're going to WrestleMania, but the floor is all yours.
You can find me at the one Mona. Some of them have an extra A. Some, I think X and Instagram have an extra A at the end. But the one Mona is where you can find me. Yes, I will be in WrestleMania a week from today until the last night of WrestleMania, and I will be covering as much as I can. I will be trying to cover some indie shows, and I will also be at WrestleLit on Thursday. There's like a little party going on there. I'm just making a small appearance, and because I'm not really a party animal, but I will be there, and I have some things coming up. They're under the blanket right now, but if you stay tuned and follow me on my socials, I'll announce those as soon as I can.
All right, appreciate it. And like I said, thank you again, Mona. And that's all your socials, like that. You have the same handle, TikTok, yes, Instagram, and X. Yeah, yep. You got to make sure you give her a follow. She got big things coming. She's phenomenal, like I said, and I'm so thankful that you come on. So for me, obviously, scrolling across the bottom of the screen, the big pretty blue Cody Rhodes colors in the background. All my links are in my bio. If you're looking for me on X, you can find me at EVPCJP. Same handle with Instagram, EVPCJP. Obviously, I have my YouTube pinned to the top of my X channel. It's in my bio as well. So if you guys love my content, Mona, everybody that's watching, make sure you share my YouTube link with your friends. Try to help. My goal is 200 subscribers before WrestleMania, and I got to 200. Lose that it costs free to support just decent people, and I agree. It's good people all around. So my goal is to get to 200 subscribers before WrestleMania. I hit that about 3 weeks before WrestleMania, so thank you guys so much for that. My next goal is to get to 300. Obviously, you have to make goals. So TikTok, you can find me at Brady, and that is Tom Brady, the GOAT. The upper football at Brady the GOAT 21. Last but not least, if you guys are watching this stream live on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. It helps my channel, helps the algorithm, helps everything. So you guys make sure to like this stream. If you guys go back and watch it later tonight, tomorrow night, you guys better follow Mona though, because she's the real one. That's why I call her the one. Throw up the ones for Mona. But yeah, if you guys make sure to like this stream. If you're not subscribed to me to YouTube and you're looking for my channel and you can't find it on any of my platforms, which you should be able to, you can go to the search bar and type in at the EVP show. What I have coming up next, obviously I have the rest of the day off. Normally Wednesdays is my day off, but I have a busy schedule coming up, so I'm just gonna fly through this really quick. Tomorrow, I will be back at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for my TNA episode 6 of my TNA recap show. Right before the TNA, it's the go home show right before the TNA PLE coming up this weekend. You can catch me Friday night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. I will be covering SmackDown. We'll see if Cody Rhodes and Pat McAfee receipt this week. 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in to my SmackDown recap. Saturday, I will be off. No streaming for me, but you can catch WWE Radio on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to tune into that. Give them a call. You can call in. It's the radio, not on the radio. Sunday, I was talking to Mona a little bit about this before we come on the air. It will be episode 16 or episode 17. I'm sorry, Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP. Where this is not only for me, but this is for the fans. People that love spoilers, love scoops, love signings, stuff that I get information on. I give the news out the first 30 minutes, and then I open it up to everybody on Twitter and the Twitter community and YouTube community, and I answer all the questions until they're completely done at 6 p.m. Eastern. So there will not be a Sunday Night Scoops WrestleMania weekend. Gonna run through my quick schedule really quick, because I know Mona's gonna go pretty quick. For next week, Monday night, I'm back live again, 11 p.m. Eastern for your Raw recap. Tuesday night, you can catch me at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for week 1 of NXT Revenge. The NXT recap, some good matches. JC Jane going after the title again. She probably not going to win because I think she's going up to the main roster. Next Wednesday is another big show for me besides this one with Mona. It is the WrestleMania prediction show next Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. I will be joined by 9 other guests and 2 in the comments. So it will be a 12-person panel predicting WrestleMania 42. Thursday night, I'm back for the TNA recap show, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Friday night, even though it's right before the Hall of Fame ceremony, I will be covering the Go Home SmackDown show, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Saturday night. Next Saturday. This is a 7-day week. Sorry, Mona. It's a lot. Next Saturday night. Catch me at 11 p.m. Eastern, as I will be doing a WrestleMania Night 1 recap show. We'll be talking about all the matches from Night 1 and see if Mona's right, if Randy Orton does beat Cody Rhodes. Hopefully not, Mona, but we'll see. Then Sunday, to close out next week, WrestleMania week, you can catch me at 11 p.m. Eastern for the Night 2 recap, as I recap everything that happens on Night 2 to close out WrestleMania. Once again, that is my schedule. Quite a lot. Told you, Mona, I'm super busy. I stream a lot. If you see my channel, you're always going to see content. But once again, thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming in. Hope to have you on again in the future. Hope you enjoy Las Vegas. Be safe. Safe travels. But in closing, I'm going to say I am the EVP from the EVP show, and I am the golden boy of DWE. And with my first ever special guest interview, the one and only Mona, we are going to say goodbye. Everyone enjoy their Wednesday, and I will see you guys tomorrow night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for my TNA recap. Good night, everyone.